For years, we've all kind of thought about digital literacy as this nice to have, almost like a charity project, right? But what if that's completely, totally wrong? Let's dig into how teaching your customers might not just be good karma, but actually one of the most powerful and overlooked business strategies for building unbreakable trust. This quote just gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? We got so excited about handing out the technology, but we completely forgot the user manual. So now you have millions of people navigating this incredibly complex digital world with tools they don't fully get. And, as it turns out, the consequences are massive. And this isn't just some vague social issue. No. Let's think about this in pure business terms. When one of your customers gets scammed on your platform because they didn't understand digital security, who do they blame? They blame you. This gap, it directly fuels customer churn, it jacks up your fraud management costs, and it absolutely tanks the lifetime value of your audience. Okay, so let's put some real numbers on this thing. We're talking about a massive blind spot in the global economy, a hidden cost that all boils down to one simple but really dangerous assumption. And this right here is the core misconception. We all see these charts showing 90% internet penetration, and we think, great, our market is ready to go. But hold on. Having access to the highway doesn't mean you know how to drive a car. Real digital engagement requires skill, confidence, and trust, things a SIM card just can't give you. And look, this isn't just a theory. If we look at real-world data from a place like Bangladesh, the story becomes crystal clear. Yeah, internet penetration is rising, but look at fintech adoption. It's lagging way behind the global average. And why is that? Well, notice the fraud risk is high. This tells us that new, less skilled users are prime targets, and that creates this huge disconnect between access and actually using it safely. And what we're seeing in Bangladesh, that's really just a snapshot of a global issue. The picture is just as stark worldwide. I mean, we've achieved mobile broadband coverage for 95% of the population, which is incredible, but the number of people who actually use it, that's closer to 62%. That giant chasm between who could be online and who is online, that is the literacy gap. That gap represents 3 billion people. Think about that. And the World Economic Forum points to 2 silent killers of adoption. One is cost, sure, but the other 2 are a lack of digital skills and a fundamental lack of trust. So you see, this isn't a tech problem, it's a human problem. So if the problem is a lack of trust and skill, how on earth do you fix it? Well, the answer isn't in better tech. It's actually in psychology. It's about fundamentally changing your brand's relationship with your customer, shifting from just being a seller to becoming a teacher. It all comes down to this really powerful idea called competence-based trust. Just think about it for a second. When you teach a customer a real skill, like how to spot a phishing email or how to secure their account, they don't just feel safer, they feel empowered. And that feeling, it completely transforms their loyalty from something transactional, like I buy your product, into a real personal relationship with your brand. We can actually break this down with a simple model called the trust equation. It gives us a formula. Trust is built on credibility, reliability, and intimacy, all divided by how self-focused you seem to be. Now, here's the cool part. Education directly hacks this equation in 2 really powerful ways. Okay, first, by teaching someone a skill that genuinely benefits them, you immediately lower your perceived self-orientation. All of a sudden, you're not just trying to sell them something, you're investing in their well-being. You come across as less selfish and way more helpful. And second, that same act of teaching builds intimacy. You're showing that you actually care about their safety and their success. You're basically saying, hey, I'm on your side. This creates a bond, a sense of a shared journey that a simple sales pitch could never, ever achieve. Okay, so we get the why, but how do you actually do this? The good news is it doesn't require some massive budget, just a practical framework. A great one to use is the EAT strategy. Educate, apply, transact. And trust me, the order here is absolutely crucial. So this breaks down into 4 key steps. First, you have to audit their anxiety. Find those exact moments where your customers get confused or just freeze up. Second, you create Trojan horse content. You hide the lesson inside something entertaining, because let's be honest, nobody wants a lecture. Third, you build in these little in-product nudges to offer help at the precise moment of friction. And finally, you measure literacy lift. You focus on actual changes in their behavior, not just vanity metrics like views. Here is a perfect example of an in-product nudge. The message on the left, error, weak password. It's totally useless. It's just friction. But the one on the right, that password takes 0.2 seconds to hack. Try adding a symbol. See? It educates, it empowers, and it solves the problem in real time. You just taught a security lesson without the user even realizing it. That is creating real value. Now, this isn't just some nice theory. Some of the smartest brands in the world, we're talking global giants and local champions, are already using this exact playbook to totally dominate their markets. So let's look at two amazing examples from completely opposite ends of the spectrum. Google, a global behemoth, and Bkosh, a fintech pioneer that literally built a market from scratch in Bangladesh. Both of them used education as their primary weapon for growth. So Google had this huge business problem. Parents were afraid to let their kids online, and that was a massive barrier to getting future users. So what did they do? They didn't run a bunch of ads telling parents Google was safe. Nope. They created Interland, a genuinely fun game that teaches kids about digital safety. They solved the parents' real problem, and in doing so, they became a trusted partner in the family. Genius. And then you've got Bkosh, facing a completely different challenge. They were introducing a technology that felt alien, even scary, to millions of people. So their strategy wasn't just advertising. It was massive, on-the-ground education, using simple, culturally powerful phrases like, "Don't tell anyone your PIN." They didn't just win the market. They literally built the entire market on a foundation of trust. So what does all this mean for you? How can you put this into action, like, as soon as you're done watching this? Here's a simple playbook, but it comes with one very, very important warning. Here are 4 things you could literally start doing next week. First, shift just 10% of your content budget away from ads and into helpful, how-to, utility content. Second, retrain your customer service team to be educators, not just problem solvers. Third, challenge your metrics. Start measuring how much you're actually improving user understanding, not just counting impressions. And finally, get out of the office. Go watch how real people use your product in the wild. But here's the critical warning that comes with all of this. This strategy only works if you are absolutely authentic. You cannot go out there and position yourself as a teacher of digital safety if your own data practices are shady. It just won't fly. Because your customers are getting smarter. They might not understand the code behind the scenes, but they are developing a sixth sense for hypocrisy. If you preach privacy while you're selling their data, they will find out. And the backlash from that could destroy every ounce of trust you've worked so hard to build. So I'll just leave you with this one question. Take a hard look at your brand, your marketing, all of your customer interactions, and ask yourself honestly, are you simply a seller just pushing a product? Or are you a teacher, empowering your customers for a better, safer digital life? Because I guarantee you, the answer to that question will define your future.